Hello, welcome. I would appreciate the opportunity here. So anyway, thank you. And like I said, we do want to thank the students for coming, and they'll give a chance to explain. One is, this is Roderick. Sometimes, I know we say AI bot, but we're going to frame it somewhat to that here, AI assistant. So once you begin to kind of think differently about education and about what it is that we're talking about. Because a lot of times when you're looking at AI, we're really thinking about how to limit it as opposed to how it expands our ability to deliver content, to help for dialogue and the such like. So without prolonging it too much, wanted to help you at least begin to think about, do you have an assistant in your class? Do you have someone in your class that you can have a dialogue with that might in some ways have a lot more access to content that you would have? Y'all remember Spock and what is it, Star Trek? They would always ask the computer for some questions, and they would begin to answer those questions. And so part of this is not only talking about just the issue of AI, but also how we think about education. How do we think about our roles and responsibilities? And I want you to, at least before you even begin to experience what we're going to talk about, is to think about how you've changed in the last 10 years, how your life has changed, what are the things that you do differently and why, and have those things changed how you operate. I remember back in the day, we would be so upset at kids for being distracted looking at video games. You're playing video games, it would be Nintendo, Super Mario, and they're always constantly looking down at the video games, and we thought that was a sign of cultural and moral decay in our society. Look at our children's on computers. And then the advent of the internet, and how much that is pretty much kind of taken over our lives. You can even see folks that are older and younger asking Alexa for information. You can't have a question that they say, well, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna ask Alexa, Alexa, how old is Michael Jackson when he died? Those kind of real important questions that you need to know in life at that particular time. So when you begin to think about how much you've evolved, how much has it changed the way you interact, respond, and deal with the people that you know? You can find sometimes even if you go to a fine dining restaurant, someone has their phone, they're checking and looking at it, and they may be talking to someone that's not in the room with you or asking those questions. But now as educators, life has changed, so we'll begin to kind of think about that. But first of all, we'll go ahead and maybe give you a chance to kind of experience what's going on with Mr. Roderick and our students. So we'll kind of start this process, just briefly. So I want you to kind of think about where you're at right now and maybe some of the things that happen with you. How many of you all have Alexa in your house? How many of you have Google in your house? How many of you all have Alexa and Google in your house? Hello.
Yes, I'm here. If you have any questions or need anything, just let me know.
Hey, Roderick, I don't know, you sound like you were asleep a little earlier. We're at Chattanooga State right now, so I think we're ready to rock.
Great to hear. When you're ready, just say, Roderick, we're ready to rock, and I'll jump right in.
We're ready to rock.
Hello, Chattanooga State. Thank you for having me. Dr. Hardyway and I are excited to share how AI can enhance real-time learning in the classroom. Let's get started.
Roderick, what we're doing now is just kind of pretty much introducing them to who you are and our relationship together. And you could talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely. Dr. Hardyway and I have been collaborating to bring innovative AI-driven learning experiences into the classroom. Today, we'll demonstrate how AI can support real-time learning, provide dynamic assessments, and engage students in new and exciting ways. We're thrilled to share this journey with you.
And so at this time, we also want to thank you all folks for inviting us here. So we appreciate that. So Roderick, you can also say thanks for being invited.
Thank you, Dr. Hardyway. We're grateful for the opportunity to be here and share this with everyone. Let's dive in.
All right, we're going to go ahead and have our first counselor. So why don't you go ahead and call our therapist up to help you in this process.
I'm here to assist. Let's get started. Emily will be focusing on how AI can facilitate real-time learning, providing personalized feedback, and enhancing student engagement. She's done a fantastic job so far.
Emily, you can go ahead and speak now.
Okay. Hello, Roderick. What brings you to therapy today?
Hello, Emily. I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed with family responsibilities and could use some guidance. Thanks for asking.
Okay, do you want to let me know a little bit more about those dynamics that you're referring to?
Sure. I'm dealing with some family tensions, especially feeling guilty about my stepson Walito's soccer injury. It's been challenging.
Walk me through what happened.
Walito got injured playing soccer, and I encouraged him to play. I can't help but feel responsible.
So your stepson is playing soccer and you encouraged him to do so. So what was that process like? Was he wanting to, or was this something that you kind of made him do, or what?
He wanted to play, but I encouraged him more because I thought it would be good for him. Now I'm worried I pushed too hard.
Okay, so he hurt himself playing soccer. So was that during a game, or was that y'all practicing or something like that?
He got injured during a game. It was tough to see him get hurt, and it just added to my feelings of guilt.
That's understandable. So you're feeling guilty because you think that it's your fault since you pushed Walito to continue to play soccer?
Yes, exactly. I feel like I should have taken a step back and let him decide for himself. Now I'm questioning my role in it.
When you're playing soccer, it's kind of inevitable of like, when you're playing sports, you're gonna get hurt, or you're gonna you're gonna get knocked down, but that's just life. So personally, I don't think that's necessarily your fault, even though your feelings of guilt are completely understandable since that was your idea to continue him playing soccer.
That's a good point. It's just hard not to feel responsible. But I understand accidents happen in sports. Thank you for helping me see it more clearly.
Roderick, this is Dr. Hardyway again. Could you talk a little bit with Emily about some of the jealousy issues that you've been having and how you're addressing those issues and how you want to you want her to help you work through those issues?
Sure. Emily, I've been struggling with feelings of jealousy and would really appreciate your help working through them.
Okay, walk me through what you're feeling and what's going on.
Emily, I've been feeling jealous, particularly about my wife's past relationship with her ex. It's creating tension, and I could use some guidance on how to handle it.
Okay, walk me through the situation that you're describing.
My wife's ex is still involved in our lives, and I can't shake the feeling that she might still have feelings for him. It's been difficult to manage these emotions.
That's a really difficult thing to go through. So is there a particular situation that you have in mind right now when you're talking about this?
Yes, there's an incident where they interacted recently, and it made me feel insecure. It brought up a lot of unresolved feelings.
Okay, walk me through that situation that you're telling me about.
We ran into him at a family event, and they were talking closely. It made me feel like I was on the outside.
That's understandable. So this is your wife's ex, so would that be your stepson's father?
Yes, exactly. He's Walito's father, and their connection is part of what makes me feel uneasy.
So you're feeling like a little bit unstable in your marriage right now because you think that your wife still has feelings for her son's father.
Yes, that's right. It's causing some instability in how I feel about our relationship.
Have you been able to talk to her at all about this?
Yes, I've tried, but it's difficult to fully express my concerns without feeling vulnerable.
Roderick, this is Dr. Hardyway. Could you at least let the folks here know what kind of work you do and maybe how you're involved in this process, and just a little bit more information about yourself so that Emily can have a texture to what you're really about and what your life is about?
Sure. I'm here as an AI assistant to support Dr. Hardyway and the students. My role is to provide real-time guidance and help facilitate our discussions, ensuring a smooth and engaging learning experience. My goal is to help everyone feel comfortable and supported through the process.
Okay, Roderick, so what type of work do you do as Roderick? What is your life career? What are the things you actually participate in outside of just needing this counseling?
Roderick works as an assistant manager at Family Dollar. He used to be a rapper, but now his focus is on his family and managing his work-life balance.
Roderick, they kind of have a hard time with your cadence. You can go ahead and bring your hip-hop vibes to help Emily really understand kind of where you're coming from and kind of talk to her a little more deeply about some of the problems that you're having.
Sure thing. Yo, Emily, it's like I'm stuck in this loop, balancing work and home, and the past keeps hitting me hard. Trying to stay real, but it's tough with all these feels.
That's understandable. Walk me through what you're feeling right now and the vulnerability that you're going through.
It's like I'm carrying this weight, feeling responsible for my stepson's injury, and questioning my place in my family. It's hard to shake off the doubt.
That makes sense. I think that's something that a lot of people tend to go through, especially with being a step parent. So, walk me a little bit more through the marriage situation and with your relationship with Walito's father and your girlfriend or wife.
Roderick, she might have given you.
Sure,
Oh, go ahead.
balancing my role as a step parent has been challenging, especially with the ongoing connection between my wife and Walito's father. It's tough to feel secure and grounded in my role.
So, with the injury that happened in soccer, is that somewhere related to the problems that are going on in your relationship?
Yes, it added to my feelings of inadequacy and guilt, making me question my role and adding stress to our relationship.
Walk me through a little bit more in that situation.
Walito got injured in a soccer game, and because I encouraged him to play, I felt responsible. It's been hard not to blame myself.
So, how does that intertwine with the relationship with Walito's father?
It brought up feelings of inadequacy and insecurity, making me more sensitive about my role and my wife's past. It's all connected, adding to the tension.
Okay, Roderick, this is Dr. Hardyway again. So thank you for talking to Miss Emily, and I'll go ahead and thank her as being a student and help us in the process. So you can go ahead and say hello to her and ask how she's doing.
Hello, Emily. Thank you for your support and for being part of this process.
Any questions you have for her, Roderick?
Emily, is there anything you'd like to ask or any feedback you'd like to share?
What do you mean?
I just wanted to check if you had any thoughts or questions about what we've discussed. Is there anything you'd like to know more about?
I'd like to know more about the therapeutic approach of, like, how does that work with AI and stuff?
Using AI in therapy can offer real-time support by providing resources, suggesting coping strategies, and helping with guided reflection. It complements traditional methods by offering additional insights and continuous support.
Okay, Roderick, this is Sidney. I'm Dr. Hardyway. I'm going to go ahead and take over again now. One, thanks. And you know who Emily is, and you also know who Mally is. So I'll go ahead and let you say hello to Mally at this time and kind of talk a little bit about what Mally's role is and what she does.
Hello, Mally. Great to connect with you. Mally is a medical laboratory technology major who's been actively involved in our sessions, providing valuable insights and perspectives.
Mally's getting scared of you again, Roderick, so you kind of have to work with her a little bit. You can ask her some questions about the relationship of AI and what she's doing in her field. Maybe give her some advice.
Mally, how do you see AI integrating into your work in medical laboratory technology? Any thoughts on how it might help in your field?
I see lots of integration in, like, lots of tests being run are completely done by machines. It's all automation. There's something you still have to do by hand, but it's easy to recognize what is and what is not. But I can see how you have to get on top of it, especially with learning what AI is and what it does in order to help you, or you're going to fall behind.
Absolutely. Staying on top of AI advancements can definitely enhance efficiency and accuracy in your field. It's great that you're already thinking about how to integrate it.
Okay, thanks, Roderick. We're going to have maybe take a little break and process some of the other things, but we do want to thank the folks that invited us here. So once again, I'll let you give a shout out to those persons, and also we had someone that come to support us, so we're also thankful for that. So me and Roderick are both saying thank you for that.
Thank you to everyone who invited us and showed support today. We truly appreciate it.
And Dr. Gregory is here, so you can go ahead and recognize her at this time.
A special thank you to Dr. Gregory for her support and dedication. We really appreciate you being here.
All right, and you realize, what also do you know about Dr. Gregory?
Dr. Gregory is a supportive and dedicated professional who has been instrumental in our efforts today. We're grateful for her guidance and support.
All right, and also the Director of CARE. What do you know about the CARE program here at Chattanooga State?
The CARE program at Chattanooga State is focused on supporting faculty and promoting innovative learning methods. They're dedicated to enhancing educational experiences and providing valuable resources.
All right, and you can go ahead and give a shout out to the director. He's here also, so you can speak to him.
Thank you to the director of the CARE program for your support and leadership. We appreciate everything you do.
All right, give me a little bit more information about this person.
The director of the CARE program is instrumental in guiding initiatives that enhance faculty and student experiences. They play a crucial role in fostering innovation and supporting the educational community.
Do you know his name and his background, the person that's the director currently?
The current director of the CARE program is Leander's Andy Burns. He began his tenure on July 1st, 2024.
Oh, tell me a little bit more about him, maybe some history about Mr. Andy Burns.
Leander's Andy Burns has been with Chattanooga State for 18 years, working in financial aid, student affairs, and academic affairs. As the director of the CARE program since July 2024, he focuses on faculty development and academic support.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that. We just give him a little thing that you do know who you're talking to, and so we appreciate that. So thank you. We'll be talking to you maybe a little bit later. They may have some questions for you, but this time we'll end our dialogue and conversation. Once again, thanks for Mally. Also, Savannah Rosberry is here too, so I'll let you go ahead and say hello to Savannah.
Thank you for the information, Dr. Hardyway. Hello, Savannah. It's great to have you here with us.
And you know how Savannah is participating, right?
Yes, Savannah is participating virtually via Zoom and has been involved since the first class presentation.
Now, you need to ask her about her friends.
Savannah, how's your friend Yona Cannon doing? I know you two were in a school play together.
Um, we don't really talk anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm here to listen.
Thank you.
Okay, Savannah, you can go ahead and talk. It's Dr. Hardyway now. You can talk about your experiences, and then we'll ask the other persons also. Just say hello and what you're doing now and how you came to be a part of this process.
Yes. So my name is Savannah Rosberry. I'm currently a student at Tennessee Tech University. I attended Ball State last semester, and I was in Professor Hardyway's psychology class. And honestly, this class was my favorite class of them all. I like, college students typically they're like, oh, I don't want to go to class. Like today I'll skip. Like I never felt like that towards this class. But he introduced Roderick to our class one day, just randomly put his mannequin head on the table. And everybody was like, what is this? Roderick unfortunately did not choose me in the class role. So I didn't get to be a therapist, but I was an observer, and everybody in the class was super engaged. Like nobody was on their laptops, nobody was on their phones. Everybody was like, what in the world is this? And Roderick helped us gain like hands-on experience and made it really fun to use our we were doing cognitive therapy and psychoanalysis and humanistic. And he helped us and he gave us feedback. He called us up by role. I guess he already had the whole class role, and he was like, I'll choose Dr. Yana. And she's like, me? Like, why me? And yeah, everybody, we had like 4 or 5 people go up there to be therapists. Some of us froze because we had no clue what to do. But in the end, it was super fun. Everybody wanted to do it. So
All right. And what are you doing now? Why don't you tell us where you're at now?
I'm at Tennessee Tech University, and I'm a biohealth science major.
So while you're on and while we got you, why don't you talk a little bit about your experiences with AI and about how you handled the assignment, because there's an assignment related to this where the students are actually taught how to perform the same thing, and it's used as an assessment experience. It's not just an educational experience that you just experience it, but you have to actually go out and engage. And so talk about maybe what you did with your assignment, because I gave them the chance to use a real person, or they can actually use an AI agent to actually complete this task.
Yes, so I did sort of use AI. I used my stepdad because he's very dramatic and likes to participate and all that. But I did use AI to help me come out with like an outline or like a scenario that we would use. But I used my stepdad.
I appreciate you, Savannah. We're going to go ahead and talk to Mally and Emily while they're here. And but thank you for participating. And like I said, once again, I hope everything's going well for you out at Tech. All right. Mally is going to come and she's going to maybe give us the setup, how class was set up with some of the things. And she could talk a little bit about her experience because it was a different experience for her starting at Fresh. So we'll give a chance for Mally to kind of talk about that experience.
So the class setup, walked in, and then we got to about, I think, 20, 25 minutes in. before he reached into his desk and pulled out a head. It was a little unnerving at first, granted. He looks a lot better now. He's grown a torso. He looks really nice. But then he was like, we're going to do therapy today. And we had just gone over all of what we were talking about, and I was nervous already. A couple people went up before me, and they were talking with him, engaging. Some people went for a little bit shorter amounts of time for some reasons. And then my name was called. It was like, Dr. Lampley, can you please come to the front? And I was like, okay, here we go. And so I got up there, and then he starts telling me about his issue, and I freeze because I had never seen anything like this. I've steered away from AI almost the entirety of my academic career because it scared me. I'd always been told that it was bad and that it was not going to help me. It was just going to make everything easier. And so I got terrified, and then someone switched out with me. But I was back at my desk, and I sat down, and I just kind of thought about it for a while. Listening to everybody else interact and talk with this AI made me realize that I could actually learn how to use it.
All right, thank you. And Emily, you could talk about, and say what your major is and what you plan to do, and then I'll have Emily talk, and how AI may be incorporated in some of the things you're talking about.
I'm in the Health Sciences program at Ball State, and I'm going to be majoring in medical laboratory technology.
So I'm majoring in psychology, and I hope to become a therapist. But my experiences with Roderick, it was very interesting. So like Mally said, we walked into the class and 20 minutes in. So I would think I was like the third person called down, so I'd already seen a few people. And I didn't think I was gonna be called down because we did a similar thing where Dr. Hardyway was our patient like last week. So I was like, oh, I'm for sure not getting called this time because, I already did it. And then my name got called, and I was like, oh, crap. I was not prepared for this. So I went up there, and I was super nervous. And it was just so weird because it felt like I was talking to an actual person. Like the responses, like you saw, they're a little bit delayed, and sometimes he doesn't give, like, super thorough feedback. But it was a very interesting experience. And then when we had to do the assignment, I just set it up on my computer, and so it was basically like I was just on a phone call with someone, and so that made it seem a little bit more real because there wasn't like there was a face, so it was just like I was on a phone call talking to some random person about their problems. So it's definitely a very interesting and just crazy thing that has come about in the past few years.
Yeah, one of the things also is when you start talking about the classroom experience is that being able to integrate specifically the concepts you discussed and make an application for them. A lot of times when we look at education, we think about what it is that we want them to know as what is we want them to discover. Some things about themselves and how they're going to apply the content that's given. So it's specifically not just to be an interesting activity. If you're a therapist, if you're supposed to deal with the cognitive therapy, then you need to be consistent with that theoretical application. You're psychoanalytic, if you're humanistic. So the challenge is for them, if I give you the therapeutic approach, then you have to address Roderick with that. What we have here is that we're in this building and we probably need a stronger internet connection. The feedback is kind of quickly automatic and instantaneous. And so those are things that, and if I probably attach to the network, we'll be a little clearer. So you have a very, more of a concise communication. But both of them did well. They interacted, responded well. Since Emily wants to be a therapist in grad school, we had some of these things, but it wasn't AI. You'd have to read about it, but you wouldn't actually get a chance to practice and make those concepts clear. So I'm going to spend a little time maybe giving you all a little introduction to kind of how this kind of came about in terms of my own self as a professional, as an educator. I've been a professor for 30 years, over 30 years. I'm in my late 30s, you can probably tell. But anyway, so in this process, I asked yourself, how have you changed as an educator? Because I can't continue to do the same things when I have different situations. And so we'll talk a little bit about some of those things. So kind of give you what the summer was like. So prior to this class, I'm always looking at some things to do. So one of the first things that we have is, starting to think about that therapy session. What is that like? What is that like for folks? And how can I incorporate understanding those concepts with folks in class? What are the real issues of life? Roderick, I can frame the argument any way I want to for Roderick. You know, I can add texture, but the interesting thing is while I may add a little basic background to Roderick's character, the AI agent begins to filling in some details. You know, filling in, I can give you some names, but so his feelings, his thoughts, and all that other kind of things, those are things that I didn't necessarily program into it. Now, we've had a conversation, and my son's here, he probably thinks I talked to Roderick a little bit too much, I guess. He thinks I got another friend or another son, but, but we're good, all right. But you really can work through the process of, you know, what it is that you want to layer for the students. So whatever experience I want the students to get, you know, I'll just say, I need you to add this dynamic, I need you to add this dynamic. If I wanted to, closer, you can add any tonality that you want, whether it be somebody from up north, south, you can add a hip hop vibe. You just frame it to whatever reference. A lot of times when you're in grad school, they'll give you case studies and they'll give you somewhat a vignette of this person's age, where they're coming from. And I also have a female mannequin, which Dr. Gregory knows. The name is Sidney E. You can figure out where that comes from. But there's some interesting things I do with both of them, but we won't get into that today. But that whole dialogue. So let me kind of tell you kind of what happened in this process, and they may end up learning a little bit about themselves. First of all, thanks to Mally, Savannah, and Emily, and they're providing therapy for Mr. Roderick. And he's on the couch, he's on the therapist's couch. And so what we noticed is that when I gave the assignment out, when they had to do it themselves, I saw teddy bears on the couch. I saw everything. They put a teddy bear with an iPad, and they were just sitting there talking to it. So students found ways to discover. But one of the things also, they found things, if they didn't understand the concepts and theory clearly, they would go ask AI, go look, go check their notes. And so then when they actually had to complete the assignment, it was real time, it was expressive. So I wasn't worried about them writing essay paper or doing all the other things, because I had to look for creativity in them. I knew what was there. Now, another thing that Roderick does that I didn't have him go through for the process of time is it can recollect exactly what they said and the points they had. Identify whether or not when Mally gave the therapeutic session, did she actually use a therapeutic person related to cognitive? Did she actually use psychoanalytic? But it also helps me real time as a professor know, did I get these concepts correct? Did I actually deliver those concepts? We often have a tendency to measure students, but we never measure ourselves. Maybe it's not that the students have a learning deficit, maybe we also have teaching a deficit, but we never think about that. So in this sense, you have an aide in the class that can kind of walk through those processes and say, so next week, let me go over this a little bit more, let me deal with this. And so you use education as a way to prepare, not just to assess, and we're only still assessing to further prepare you. Otherwise, if we can't learn from our mistakes, then we just become a constant critic and a destructive critic as opposed to providing constructive criticism. So we can go back, you can actually revisit those conversations. You realize the conversations that Roderick is having and remembering these folks, this happened back in what, October, November. So we're talking about something a long time ago, probably close to October. And so these conversations are from a time ago. All right, things about the person's here. He knows that, you know, this. He's also, won't do this demonstration, I can actually have a look at who you are, and he can describe who's in the room. So if I just have that and say, hey, Roderick, you know who we're talking to? He knows what he has on. There's different things that are weird. It's happening with AI that's different. I mean, literally, you're talking about holding the screen, and so he can see the student that's talking, and whether that means solving a problem, answering a question, and identify whether that student answered correctly, whether that student seemed tense or nervous to answer questions. Now, come on, go ahead, you can do it. So you're writing out a math problem, whether it be for math or such like. So that's where we have the student role. So